What's good? It's your boy Logic back in here with another video. And shout out, we did it, guys. Roe v. Wade done. Well, not done, but it's going to the states, which is fine because it it tailor makes the laws towards the culture of each states, which gives each state like more personality and whatever the people who live there will control the type of laws that they feel is right for their society. I don't really see a problem with that, but people kind of look at it in a like a it, women in general look at it from an emotional standpoint, and they think they like really losing on something, right? So here's the thing, and I've gotten some sides from a lot of other people on this, and I was watching Fresh and Fit with Rolo and stuff like that. Now here's the thing, I went to a cookout where there were a few females, drastic age differences too, like um, my best friend's mom, who's like in her 50s, like early 50s, and um, one of my female friends who's in her 30s, right? So there's a 20 plus year gap there. Um, um, one who can actually, the younger one who's actually, the abortion thing can actually really affect her directly if she decided to like use it. And then the one who's a little bit older, wiser, whatever, right? Now, both of them fought me on it, where I tried to make a point and try to and you typically gonna get the same talking points as far as you don't have a vagina, you don't got to sit at the table, why are you talking about this and all this other stuff like that, right? And it's funny because it says a lot when a woman says some shit like that, right? um when it takes two to make a baby, when the man's on the hook for child support and all this other shit when the baby's born, all this stuff that falls on the in the man's lap. Yet it's like he's not even connected to like the ramifications of this abortion law, right? So like, basically, women are thinking of it in a very selfish um, point of view. Um, Basically, I'm for the Roe v. Wade, and there's theories that half or maybe more than half are going to probably outright ban abortion to some degree. And um, from the state of the United States and the world, is at least I'll speak for the civilized world. Um, there is a moral decline, right? The way people are treating each other now and the way we interact and stuff like that has deteriorated. Now, I was watching Fresh and Fit, and Rolo said that it's more about intersexual dynamics and data and shit like that, and it's not about moral decay. It's about basically having the tools or whatever, as far as understanding the way men and women are different and the way they work. That's really destroying morality, and I would say that I don't really agree with that. Um, because regardless of whether we understood that each other's was different, I would say one of the main components of moral decay is the internet, right? Because having instant access to information and other people, it has a great upside and a great downside. And I've always said that humans are selfish in nature. And the harder you make it for a person to stay virtuous, the easier it is for them to break down and to become more selfish, right? And what you found out about the internet, once it stopped being implemented more towards like information, it's kind of started shifting into the dating market, which affects personal relationships, there's it's it almost simulates a lottery where someone thinks that they can win big, and if they keep trying, they can, they can always do better, stuff like that. Now, here's the thing: women have always been the desired, well, if you want to call them like a commodity when it comes to the dating landscape. Remember, men approached women in real life when it was time to go out and date and try to spit game or whatever. We had to approach. The women just had to sit there and wait and pick who they wanted. Now online, they're doing the same thing but digitally. But the difference is their reach, the people who can see them, goes even further. So you have a greater sense of what I mean, I can do better. I can hold out longer. And but here's what sucks is that the longer they hold out, the longer they go without resources. Meaning that they'll have to prioritize their career or some type of job, whatever, and try to make ends meet until they find somebody to take care of them. Now, here's the thing. Now, the economy hasn't helped us much, but let's be honest here. Women typically don't work high-paying jobs, jobs that really stay in demand. And once they've started talking about how sex work is real work, and let's be honest here, let's not sugarcoat it. Selling sex in some form or fashion, whether it be stripping, sugar babying, or whatever the case may be, it's easy for women to do. Takes a little bit of acting. You already have the assets that they want, and all you have to do is really dangle it. If you're into the profession of dangling it long enough for some compliance, or actually offering it up entirely for a sum of money, a lot more women are starting to shift towards that. Which to me, that's a breakdown of morality right there. Trying to reach for high status men by prolonging like relationships and stuff from a selfish standpoint, you could say it, like I said, it's in our nature. But like I said, just because it's in our nature doesn't mean that it's good. Doesn't mean that and it can be overdone. So with women passing up decent guys that they could have easily moved forward with, they reach for a dream until they're old. Now, some girls come to realization and say that, man, I wasted a lot of time. And maybe they do look back at the decent guys. But as a guy who was sitting there waiting for a chick, you'll feel shitted on. You'll feel, like a second choice, right? So that breaks down relationships even further, right? So we got girls overlooking good guys. We got girls slipping into sex work. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of, yes, men and women, the communication barrier has deteriorated a bit because we really don't know what each other want. I'd say that girls more likely don't know what men want because men have the burden of trying to learn what girls want to attract them anyway, since we're the ones that pursue. So more or less on the woman's side, um, they really don't have to learn how to catch a man because they're in the privileged position of being able to wait and see. So they're really not incentivized to learn anything. Men typically have to learn about women to attract them. Women really don't have to learn nothing. I mean, if they do learn anything, it can enhance their ability to get it, but they in general don't really need to know much to attract the opposite. I mean, just try to stay fit, fit and feminine. Most girls in general know that to keep your body right, right, and you can probably get away with having a shitty attitude and stuff like that, which it's not. It makes sense that, and we've all noticed this, that the more attractive a woman is, it seems like they're a little bit dumber. because they relied on their looks to get access to everything. They never really had to learn to do anything. They never had to do anything on their own. So we've seen that dynamic before. That like they call the dumb bimbos and the hot blonde that doesn't have a brain between her eyes or nothing like that. So these are truths in the world. Just like a male athlete is probably dumb too because he relied on his talent, and everybody saw that he had potential, so they pass him, open up doors for him to get him to where he needed to go, and he didn't really have to learn anything because he relied on his physical talent. Only difference is that there's more beautiful women than there are athletic men, so the numbers are very staggeringly like divided. So for everything I say on the women's side, yeah, there's a male counterpart to it, but it doesn't really hold up in numbers, right? But like I said, I was listening to Rolo, and he said it has nothing to do with morality. I said here's the thing, and he says this all the time, and I agree. At least on the way he goes about it, he's about giving people the tools and not really dictating like your morality or whatever. Just you have an issue, I have some tools, and then you figure out what you want to do moving forward with those tools, right? And I said, that's the point. You know what I'm saying? Just because someone understands something doesn't mean they're going to use it for good. Okay, hey, I don't know how a gun works. Oh, you put the clip in, you clock it back, okay. So now we have two people, or we have a person. He now knows how a gun works. Just because he knows how a gun works does not mean he's going to use it for protection. He can use it for going out to execute somebody. You know what I'm saying? The knowledge doesn't dictate your morality. That's something that has to be instilled, by your peers or your family or whatever moral or virtue guideline or whatever that you follow, that would help tame. You almost have to tame human nature to a degree, because the selfishness and that the human nature brings about, and the what is it, like the sexual desires, everything about human nature, if left unchecked, is self-destructive. So you have to use morality and stuff to kind of tame the beast. You know what I'm saying? We have nothing to tame. Information is not going to tame the beast. It's just going to help us get to what we want easier or faster. Now let's take Myron and Fresh, right? They have the tools. They understand sexual dynamics, right? But based on videos that we've seen, we understand, and they're my guys. I fuck with them, but they're running through chicks, which is immoral. I mean, yeah, you can say, but whose moral standards are you trying to run by? But let's just understand this. When he runs to these chicks, is he leaving the women better off than what he found them? Like, you know what I'm saying? If a man enters a woman's life, the ideal situation is that whether he stays or leaves, she's left off better. Yeah, because relationship, nothing is guaranteed to last forever. Sometimes there'll be a set time, or in like best case scenario, y'all last 50, 60 years till y'all's dying day. But whatever the case may be, when we interact with each other, what we want to happen is our encounters leave us as better people, right? So even if you're honest up front and you say that, hey, I'm gonna fuck other chicks and all this other stuff like that, they think that absolves you of like moral judgment or something like that because you told the truth. But when you know that you're not gonna be with them for any long period of time, when you throw them back into the pond, they're not left as better people. You know what I'm saying? So from guys who understand the whole sexual dynamic shit, this is an example of them using it in an immoral way from my standpoint, right? And then girls are doing the exact same thing on their end, but at a greater degree, because remember, they're the hunted ones. So they can run through hundreds of guys, way quicker, and use them for money, whatever. Prioritize high status men who are a small fraction, which means there's highly unlikely that there's going to be a virtuous one up there because your pool is so small. And if they use them up, they come back damaged, and then and then they come back jaded. And then if they do look at a decent guy, they're jaded. You know what I'm saying? So they might, breed a toxic relationship with a decent guy. And then that decent guy who thought he had something there, he gets shitted on, maybe gets divorced because he didn't realize that she had some underlying issues that didn't get solved, and now has to suffer by paying her or raising a kid from a distance if she lets him see the kid at all. So what I'm saying is, understanding sexual dynamics to me isn't going to be the trick that turns the switch over. Because everybody, before sexual dynamics even comes into play, you have to have a decent heart, a kind heart, the best intentions. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you can use this information for great, evil, or good. So I don't understand, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe if you were talking this shit, like, in its infancy when this shit started to sprout out, so now we're far gone. We're already all the way down the line now. Now so we have all this backlog of bullshit that's already happened, and we have to try to flip it around. So you have to undo a lot of this stuff here to fix the future. So morality to me is a big part. It's a big part. And that's why I said Roe v. Wade, if we have to try to sprinkle a little bit of morality, try to, because thing is with people, you have to encroach very slowly. And this could, like I said, this could be used for great good or great evil, but to sway a public and to influence them, you can't do it all at once. You have to slowly, gradually make these changes until eventually it's too late, right? And it sucks because this is a shady tactic in itself, because what it is you're not really being honest about what your final destination is trying to be. But the thing about the Roe v. Wade is, look, like I said, when I talked to those two girls that were like 30, the women that were 30 and like 50, they talked about how we need to have a choice and all this stuff. We don't want people governing our bodies. I said, look, the government has always been telling us what to do with our body. We can't put drugs in our body. We can't be publicly intoxicated. We can't do a lot of shit with our bodies. If you try to kill yourself or cut yourself, they lock you up in the insane asylum. Just like, you think that you can just do whatever the fuck you want with your bodies, but you really can't. I don't know. It's funny to me. Like, people try to reach there. I was like, we've been always told what to do with our bodies. Men are told to sign up for the selective service with their bodies, or they can't, get a license and stuff like that. We are told what to do with our bodies at all times. Here's the thing about a society. A society can only thrive if they can collect themselves under like one banner of something, some symbolism of some type of meaning, some type of principle, whatever, right? But we live in a world where everybody wants to be special. Everybody wants to be unique. Everybody wants to distance themselves from the status quo or whatever like that. And we're becoming more divided than ever, because we have no guidelines. We don't want to be told what to do. So all our ideologies are going to be button heads. Like, we're not unified. We're unified under this. We should be able to do whatever the fuck we want to do shit. Which is ass backwards. I get it, but you're taking it too far. You know what I'm saying? Now, everybody, it's like, this is why, I'm like, if you believe in religion or whatever, this is why back in the day, the philosophers and the smart people who created religion or found out that, getting everybody to believe in one thing more or less can help control society to keep it from running amok like the fuck it's doing right now, and creating a level of morality and virtue and whatever like that, proves the point that people left unchecked are untamed, crazy animals, wild, selfish, and whatever. And we're seeing the ramifications of that. And it has nothing to do with understanding the sexual dynamics or whatever, whatever. As soon as the internet came along and people wanted to start reaching for shit that didn't earn, it's like stealing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to grab something that I didn't pay for, didn't put the work in and earn. And then if you get caught, you suffer consequences, right? Some people learn from the consequences. Some people get the quote unquote tools to do it better, right? But just because you get caught doesn't mean that you're going to go in the right direction. Just like if you understand the difference between men and women doesn't mean you're going to go in the right direction with it. So that's what I said. Morality is the fall of society. Like, like I said, I'm not a religious person, but here's the thing. I understand why religion exists. I get it. I would trust someone that's religious over someone that's not religious. And I'm not religious. Just because that I know that he set his life and stuff around some principles where he tries to discipline himself, which helps him learn self-control. And then in his belief system, if he does somebody wrong, in most religions, if you do somebody wrong, there's probably some type of negative consequences for that, right? So, and I believe that he believes in that stuff because he wouldn't put himself through the rigorous discipline, if he didn't, right? But we all know that even if you're religious, it doesn't 100% guarantee anything, because some people use religion in corrupt ways as well. Like you'll never be able to find any corruption or any immorality or whatever. People use anything to their advantage, but for those who fall into it wholeheartedly and really feel like they need to use it as a guide for their life and stuff like that. Like, see, me, I'm an independent thinker, but I understand what it takes to run a society, and I won't put that above my own personal wants and stuff. Like, I'm one of the few people out there that can take myself out of a situation and look at it as a whole. I understand why you need religion. I understand why you need certain laws that people can try to, like, laws are kind of like a religion in itself because it tells you what you can and can't do and stuff like that. But the thing is with the whole abortion is women control a lot more than they think they do. Men will usually go where the women are. If women sprouted wings, we would strap a jetpack to our backs and try to catch them out the sky. Now here's the thing about the whole abortion. What it would do is it would force women to be more responsible. Yes, you probably will get a few back alley bullshit like abortion that could cause death and infections and all this other stuff like that. You're always going to get that probably in the near future if this passes. But I think once they it becomes normalized to a degree, you'll kind of slowly adjust. Now people might adjust by trying to travel overseas or across borders and stuff to try to get the shit done. But ultimately, I think more people than what we currently have right now will understand that, okay, I need to educate myself, carry the right contraception, and maybe prioritize picking better men to have sex with so that in case of a pregnancy, I know that this person will have my back. Now, it's funny when I talk to these females that their response to like the whole abortion thing was, what if I got raped? What if, what if they got leave? All this stuff. Basically, the most worst case scenarios where they don't have to have any accountability or responsibility or whatever. And I said, but there's another option there, right? Like, how about educating yourselves and actually making the best decision possible? Now, obviously, making the best decision possible isn't going to guarantee that you don't need an abortion, but I think it would severely reduce the need for an abortion, which would overall make you a better person. But for some reason, trying to become better and more responsible isn't in the female vocabulary. It was crazy to me that that wasn't one of the options. And it's not one of the options because it's hard to do, because it takes time, effort, work, knowledge, research, whatever the case may be. They want easy outs. And when you have the mindset of needing an easy out of something, you'll never learn. I know someone that's had like 3 abortions. Why does it take like 3? Meaning that she's not learning because she's desensitized herself to the whole abortion process to where it's like a go-to. See, getting an abortion has psychological ramifications. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna duck and dodge that, because you need instant fixes. I'm not gonna learn to deal with my issues and learn from my mistakes and embrace the consequences and maybe pass the knowledge down to the next generation so they don't make the same consequences. This would take morality. This would take responsibility. This would take some type of effort, right? That's what I'm saying. Morality has to come into play first before you even are given the tools to understand the opposite sex, because you will take those tools and you will go whatever the fuck you want with them. Morality has to come first. It's like if I'm going to put a gun in somebody's hand, but I know he's religious, I know his parents, I know that he does good, whatever. And then I got a complete stranger who wants to learn how to use a gun. Who do you think I'm going to trust with the gun? I'm going to trust the person who seems to have a more moral focus because he's willing to use the tools in the kind of way that I think is going to help society. So like I said, having the tools is not gonna, it's the next step, giving them the tools, but you have to bring morality back, and implementing this law is a way to kind of push society in that direction. And then you'll have to slowly encroach on other little things to like kind of sway them into like I said, once sex work became real work, I was like, we're already gone at this point. We're already gone. Because if they're willing to have sex recklessly as a job, that's going to lead to more abortions, which is going to lead to immorality, irresponsibility. Like what type, like as a guy, would you want a girl that does sex work and have abortions? You know what I'm saying? Like what are we doing here? Oh, it's because she doesn't understand how men operate. I'm like, people are inherently selfish and lazy. So you could, I don't have the skill set necessary to go out into the workforce, but I have a body that every man wants to use. So let me use that. Oh, immorality to try to, because she's lazy, to get some easy money. And then when she realizes that she wants a relationship, she brings her damaged goods to me. Like what? But that came from because she didn't understand men. Everything's being thrown at us all at once. The economy, the internet, technology advancing, wars, all types of stuff are being bombarded on us, and we're getting chipped away and chipped away and chipped away. Whereas if you had some type of moral compass, some type of resistance against that, a mindset that can push forward, a lot of these things wouldn't carve you up. And it has nothing to do with intersexual dynamics. It has to do with you at your core as a person. And then every time you would toss a person like that situations, he would try to handle it in the most moral way, like intersexual dynamics, like interacting with people out in the open world, how he would handle certain professions and stuff like that. If he's a moral person, he's not trying to scam people off the top and all this other stuff like that. Like, you have to be a certain kind of person before you're given the situation where you can take it to, in a direction that is most beneficial. You know what I'm saying? Your personality traits and all this stuff comes first. So, like I said, I don't really agree with Rolo on that. I understand that he's trying to make his message seem like the end all be all or whatever like that. But moral decay is very real, and I think that is the start of it. You know what I'm saying? We've got introduced to technology too fast, where we don't know what to do with it. Our own curiosity, ignorance, laziness, selfishness, all the things that are within human nature are being amplified times 10 without any type of um, uh, shielding, which would be like maybe a religion, some type of principle or whatever that would help resist the effects of this stuff. All that stuff's been broken down because we need instant gratification. We need to feel good at all times. We don't want to really go through any adversity. This has nothing to do with sexual dynamics. Wanting not to go through adversity and struggle and all this stuff has nothing to do with intersexual dynamics. It has to do with your morality, your struggles, how you handle your problems and your struggles and shit. I mean, some problems could come from the opposite gender, yeah, but a lot of that shit comes from just life. What you're being introduced to just as the world keeps spinning and changing right in front of your eyes. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take on it. I think Roe v. Wade is a step towards morality, but whether it gets reversed or how they fight or whatever like that. Like I said, I think banning abortions puts more responsibility on the man and the woman. Like, look, if I'm a guy that wants to bust inside a chick, but I know that she cannot abort the kid, I should want to think twice, and then she should also want to think twice. I don't want to use the contraception, but I can always get an abortion, so you can bust. Oh, we can't get an abortion, so maybe I'll second guess. Or I know this dude was a fuck boy, and maybe I'll pass on this dude, and maybe try to prioritize a decent dude, like so if I do give him my body, that I know that he'll stick around. But some people even theorize that maybe there'll be more false rape allegations out there because because some places would probably overlook abortion if it's from like a rape or an incest or something like that. But I would say this. That is a possibility, but why I don't think, because this is what I would do. If she was raped, it'll be funny if this happens, and you state that I was raped and I want to get an abortion, then I would say I would almost force the chick to press charges. Now she could say that she was raped in the alley by a stranger, but then you'd be like, so now it just so happens that now that abortion is banned, more strangers are raping people than ever before. Like, the correlation wouldn't make sense. So what would happen is she would actually have to put a name to that, right? And guess what? See, most girls, when they are quote unquote raped, they like to wait an extended period of time, whether it's 2 weeks, a month, 10 years, whatever, basically to where the facts and the evidence is skewed and it's really up for interpretation, to where if she wanted to pull this out of her hat, you really can't judge her on it, because if she actually had to call like, I was raped, it'd have to be within a reasonable amount of time, whatever. And the guy, like, there may be more opportunity to check cameras, place, time, date, whatever, rape kit, whatever. Like, it would force the woman to actually move forward with the prosecution, like, and then we would really see, like, all right, did she really get raped or not? Because we can't, a lot of these cases be like, oh, it was like 10 years ago and I really didn't, I wasn't right in the head, so I didn't say anything and I was scared and all sorts of bullshit. So that's why I said that's a little counterbalance to the whole argument where would a lot of false rape allegations come out, because it'd be the only way to get the abortion. But at the same time, I would say, but then that would force women to be kind of accountable in another degree, because I would make them have to give up a name. You know what I'm saying? and then we see if they lie, and then which is a open up a whole nother can of worms where I think a woman should be charged if she falsely accuses someone of rape. But that's just me, because he would do years in jail if he was convicted, but then you don't do no time when you say somebody did something that they didn't do. So, and wasting police resource dollars and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Equality, right? So, but that just another reason why we gotta try to go towards morality. Like we have to try to. It sucks because we have to trick people into going towards morality. We gotta kind of force them to go towards morality. And I understand authoritarian and all that stuff. We're trying to look people left to their own devices will fuck the world over. Somewhere in the past, someone had to take the leadership role. Some king, some emperor, some chief, whatever, and he had to rally the people together behind a single cause, because people on their own will fuck shit up. That's human nature. As much as freedom and all this stuff you want to say, we are more like sheep than either. There's going to be the people that understand the world better than everybody else, and then they're going to be the ones that try to control the rest of the people that don't understand the world, because everybody takes in whoever takes information the best and actually has a critical mind and is not really trying to like be reckless with it, they're the ones that are going to become the leaders, and they're going to be one that control the populace. People are meant to be controlled at this point, from a societal standpoint, from an animal standpoint. Well, claw and eat at each other and be reckless and selfish and shit. Like that's human nature. But because we have the ability to rationalize, those who rationalize the best and can are forward thinking and see the forest before the trees, they have to rally people in the same direction that they're going, because they would just spread out too thin and just fuck up the infrastructure. So that's real human nature. You have to damn near trick people to be moral. You have to scare them to be moral. Hell, if there was no burning eternally in the Bible, people probably like, I don't give a fuck. Oh, you tell me that the hell part in the Bible is fake and that there is no such thing as sin? Well, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, because there's nothing scaring me into, following any type of moral boundaries or whatever like that. People have always had to be scared into doing stuff, convinced, whatever. No one, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just the way, like, laws scare people into doing shit. If I get caught stealing, I can go to jail. All right. Some people don't give a fuck. Some people say, you know what? I'm gonna steal. I'm gonna take the risk. But it's a deterrent. It's also a punishment and a deterrent at the same time. It'll deter some from stealing, and then those who get caught, they'll get punished. But if that law didn't exist at all, of course you would see an uptick in crime. If there was no laws, let's say there was no laws, the law of the land was protect yours, and you have the right to kill them if they try to take it. Let's say that was the only law. That's the natural law. That's pretty much the universal natural law if there were no laws. You have the freedom to gather whatever resources you want, but you got to protect it, and you're allowed to take a life to protect your shit. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a fucking shitstorm. People be trying to steal shit, kill each other for whatever, whether it be women, whether it be items or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what human nature really is. But somebody at the top that was smart said, let's create religion, let's create laws, let's everybody follow a certain guideline, because people are fucking nuts. Period. So that's it. I just wanted everybody to know that it is what it is. I don't really agree with Rollo's take on intersexual dynamics. It's not the root of every goddamn thing. I do think that morality comes right before that, and then once you give them the tools, they'll obviously probably pick a more moral high ground approach towards interacting with each other, and that would go from both sexes, because obviously one just can't be moral. Both of them have to. But now that I just thought about it, here's where it kind of screws up. To be moral is to be very disciplined and to give up advantages that you would think that would be most beneficial to you, because you know that it would be counterproductive as far as when it comes to finding, like, a proper partner. You know what I'm saying? people ain't willing to sacrifice. But why ain't people willing to sacrifice? Because they're immoral. So it is what it is. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace. Logic out.